Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the presidential debate in the election schedule for May 14, 2022. This is the elections for the Liberian community of Central New Jersey and metropolitan area. That's the area including Morrisville, Levittown, and so forth. And in the debate tonight, we have the team Hector H. Weah team versus the Anthony Kpayea team. But before we begin the debate, we also have the vice president of ULAA, that's the Union of the Liberian Association in the Americas, Madam Minerva Grant. She's the national vice president, and she's the one who is coordinating this debate. Madam Grant, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Ja.
I also want to welcome heading the Hector Weah and Linda Logan Gordon team is Mr. Hector Hine Weah. Hector, welcome to Focus on Liberia. You can unmute yourself, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ja. I'm honored to be here today to say something to my community, to let them know why I'm the best candidate and how can we move our community forward. I'm honored to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We also have from the Anthony Kpayea and Kpayea-Massaquoi team, Mr. Anthony Kpayea. Mr. Kpayea, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Ja. It's an honor and a privilege for Team Kpayea to be here tonight and to tell the Liberian people what we believe and what we can do to help our community in this period of tough time, and to see how best we can unify our community after 12 years of division. So I'm happy to be here today to let the Liberian people know how prepared we are to lead the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, I will welcome the Vice President of ULAA, Ms. Minerva Grant, to make an opening remark and also give us the background of this debate tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ja. Well, just like to say welcome and want to thank the two teams for coming to debate and tell their community why the people should vote for them. And as you mentioned, the elections is on May 14 in Trenton, and it will be people will come and vote electronic ballot. We will be using the 100 ballot system. They will be conducting the election electronically. It's going to start from 10 to 5 o'clock and ends at 5. We are having another debate on Friday, the 13th of May. So just a short 5 seconds, I would say, maybe background. And we all know that Trenton, our chapter in Trenton, been having some problem with leadership. So the president, Madam Tyler Mader, the Toyin sent ULAA a letter to intervene, and the other side, and other people that have problem to send a letter for ULAA to intervene. I was led by Mr. Francis Collins. So after we won the election, the president, Mr. Shehu Kamara, decided that we needed to get there and bring our chapter back, and not bring our chapter for fix what happening. And then we went there on February 19, I think so. We met with the leadership, with everybody, the whole community, and they all agreed that the only way to carry the chapter forward is to have an election in 90 days. They voted upon it. It was not imposed on them. And so that's where we started. So Mr. Kamara, our president, set up a team. And on this team, we have the coordinator, Mr. Stappa, from Jersey, from the South Jersey chapter. We have our Eastern Regional Vice President, Reverend Reeves, and our former chairman of the Election Commission, Madam Montreal City, that made up this team. So we're able to put the team together. We did have registration awareness. We were able to register people, and we're doing the last registration tomorrow just for voters. But for the candidates, we have two teams. When we say teams, are the president and the vice president. So you can see on Mr. and Weah and Mr. Kpayea with the vice president. And we have Secretary General, Treasurer, and Financial Secretary. And we have two persons running independently, individually. And then we have, they're supposed to have, according to the Constitution, a 7 poll member. But you know, everybody want to really carry the community forward. So right now we have 16 poll members that are running for that 7 seat. Yeah, 16 poll members are running for the 7 seat. So that's how ULAA got informed. And when we got elected, Mr. President Kamara asked me to head the engagement because we have 3 pillars that we were working on in our 100 days to what we can do for ULAA. And one of the things, and one of it was engagement, and that was like engaging chapters, bringing in new chapters, and just seeing where the union going wrong, how we can fix it, or how we can bring in new members. And so that's why the first one was Trenton, and we are so happy that the community are all informed. The community is informed in this election, and we hopefully everything will go well by May 14, 12 midnight. Trenton will have a new leadership because electronic, it will be counted, everything right there, and people will know the new president to carry their community forward. So like I said, that's it. That's how we call informed, and we would like to say that the community ready informed. They are informed. That's why they want it. And that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice President. We appreciate your time. At this time, we're going to take a leave of you so that we can have Team Hector face Team Anthony. And Anthony Kpayea is running for president, and he's running against Mr. Hector Weah. So at this time, without much ado, I will put the 2 teams side by side so that I'll be in the middle. In the background there, we see he's not an intruder. That's the vice president of Mr. Kpayea, or the vice presidential candidate. But for tonight, the debate is between the 2 presidential candidates. And so every time I ask a question, you have at most 2 minutes to respond. So please, let's keep the time. And if I say thank you, it means the time is out and we must get to the next one. So we will begin by saying, my first question is, please introduce yourself this time, or introduce yourself, and by introducing yourself, please highlight the history of your involvement with the community. That's the Liberian Community Association of Central New Jersey. With a coin toss, Mr. Hector Weah Jr. will go first with the introduction. Mr. Weah, please remember to unmute.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Anthony, hello. Kpayea-Massaquoi in the back, hello. To people in radio land and everybody listening to this video, I'm a proven leader. I'm married, 3 children. I'm married to my wife, Antoinette Weah. I immigrated to the United States in 2013. I've been to school in Liberia before coming here, graduated from the Polytechnic with a degree in architecture engineering, went to Rider and got a bachelor's degree in geology and a master's degree in geology as well with an MBA. But I am a leader that has been in this community for a while. Since I came here, I have been into community relationships and helping people up in so many different ways. One good thing that I have done in our community by way of introduction, I'm the president of Trinidad Professional Old Timers. I've been on the president of Old Timer for the past 6 years. I'm also a military officer within the United States military. I spent my time serving this country, and maybe I just came back last week from Poland, Albania, and Ireland. So I've worked with the United Nations for I think like 6 years, and came over here. I worked for Comcast. I also worked for the state of New Jersey. Presently, I serve as the Deputy Public Works Director for the city of Trenton. So all through my endeavors here, I have concentrated my time towards making our Liberian community better. So all through the times that we have had M40 in our community, I've always been there. I worked along with training professional old timers, social program, and political programs, and a lot of programs that benefits our people. Our elderlies have been to all the houses during our COVID times, giving water, masks, gloves, and everything to our community, cleaning yards of people, and even mentoring kids that goes to university today. And most of those people are even in the military right now that we can boast of. We have also worked with a lot of people in owning homes in our community through different kinds of programs. Our work extends beyond the length and breadth of Trenton. We work with the mayor, the city, and the state. Our aim is to project the image of the Liberian community out there. Those are the things that I cherish a lot, and that's why I want to be president of this community right now.
Thank you. Mr. Kpayea, please introduce yourself, and in doing so, please highlight the history of your involvement with your community. That's the Liberian Community Association of Central New Jersey.
Thank you. I'm Mr. Anthony F. Barry III, a father of four, married to my beautiful wife, Vera Muna Baba. I'm a son from Firestone and a graduate of the Moreover College and Industrial Training School, and went to Smart Institute of Management and Technology where I did public administration, and I went to AME Zion. And I also founded the youth movement against the proliferation of small arms. And during the disarmament process, I was actively engaged. I traveled to the Gambia. I traveled to Sierra Leone, Guinea, the Cote d'Ivoire. The records are there. And Senator Kwame Wisa, still board member of that organization that was funded. Reverend Father Anthony Boa, they are still there. They are still board members. I migrated to the United States and started a new life. I work at JY Store, where most people know me. And I'm a Methodist. I'm a member of the Trenton Professional Old Timers and a former board member of the Trenton Professional Old Timer. And I'm also a member of the board of trustees of the African United Methodist Church. And I'm a member of the community. I've been a member of the community since 2009. I've been a due payer in the community. I'm not just coming into the community because of election. I'm a due payer. The community served me, and I want to give back. This election is very important because people that never work with the community, people that never been member of the community, trying to hijack the community. So basically, I'm into this because I love my community and I want to give back to my community. I work at Firmenich. I've been at Firmenich for almost 7-8 years, where I do food, flavor, and perfumery. And most often, people see me as being a quiet man, but I want to give back to my community what my community have given me. This community helped me get paper. It helped me with immigration programs. I want to be able to do that for other people. That's why I think Team Anthony is the best candidate to lead the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. We are moderating a debate between Mr. Anthony Kpayea and Mr. Hector H. Weah Jr. for the Liberian community of Central New Jersey and metropolitan areas. Second question, and this one goes to you, Mr. Kpayea. Why have you decided to run for president for your community?
I decided to run as president because I love my community and I want to give back. After 12 years of conflict, I was able to unify the community. I brought people from the other side of the divide, which involved James Allen, and I also bring this other group from Tyler Miller. If you see the structure I put together, because I love the community, I want to reconcile and heal the community. That's why I'm running for president, because I'm going to bring accountability, transparency, and good governance to this community. Okay. That's why it's missing in this community. If I can bring these things back to our community, our people are going to come together, and we all, as Liberians, we're going to be happy, and we're going to look out for one another as brothers and sisters. So this election is not about old, young, or small. It's about the community, and that's why I'm running to be the next president of the Liberian community.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you. Mr. Weah, same question. Why have you decided to run for president?
I feel that this community have needs, and the needs have never been addressed over the last 20 years, especially since the time I've been here, for the short time that I moved in this area. There's a big divide in this community between the youth and the old. There's a big divide in this community between the Christians and the Muslim. It's a dream. It's a dream that one day we'll walk on the streets of Trenton and see Liberian businesses left and right of our streets. It's a dream that one day our kids will be able to go up in colleges and have brilliant education and fill in big jobs that nobody can say, hey, let the kid won't be caught. These are dreams that I have. We have kids in our community that have no programs that have benefited them. We want to bring up rehabilitation program to our kids. We want to bring up recreational programs, and we have a lot of plans for our older people that we think are things that we should be doing. Primarily, there's no youth council in Trenton. The youth have been left behind forever. The youth have no destination. Number two, there's no business association in Trenton. There's no business association within the entire central New Jersey area. I sit down and think, where's our destination? What have we thought about for the past 30 years or the 20 years that they have been in fighting? Why should I have the knowledge and not be able to help my people? As public works director right now, I think that this is the time that I want to tap the resources that my people can get. So I'm sitting at a position that I can be able to say, hey, these resources exist. Let's tap into it and be able to help our people. As trainer professional old timer president, we instituted most of these programs because we thought that by doing it, our community move forward. In as much as we were just a small part and parcel of the whole, we were able to bring up the brand of Liberian community within the 52 states of the United States. So why can we not be given the opportunity to lead our community? We are proven leaders. My team have wealth of knowledge to move this community forward. These are the reasons why we really want to move this community forward. A lot of resources are available. We need to use it. We have the contacts, and we have to use those contacts for the betterment of our people. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, Hector, what specific qualities do you bring to this job, and why should voters pick you over your opponent?
Over the years, since I came here, it was rumored around that Liberian people cannot come together, and it was like I can bring them together. Let's move this trainer professional old timer forward, and we built an organization in which we were able to bring the IE, the Barrow, the youth, the old, everybody to one. And we worked with them over the last 6 years. Everything that we wanted to do, coronavirus time, carrying water from house to house, giving up masks, each family that died, giving them almost $5,000 to $6,000 each. And right now, you can boast of almost 10 Liberians that have been employed within the city of Trenton, all because of the leadership ability that we have shown. Not so much that we just show leadership ability, but we empower people. We have been an advocate for a very long time, and what we are advocating for, we wanted to come into fruition. For example, people were in this community for maybe 25, 30 years. The time that it took to sit and go to court and make power over something that were not necessary, we could have used that time to build our human capacity. But right now, you cannot find Liberians having big jobs. We cannot find trade unions in our community. We cannot find groups to say, oh, how can we get this loan or lending ability from banks to move our community forward? None of those things have been touched. So our plans is to bring a small business association to this community and entire South Jersey and bring healthcare to our people, even if they have immigration status or not. Then we're going to wedding, baby shower, and parties. No, we're not doing that. We will move forward, and our youth council will exist of brilliant youth that will bring up plans and programs. There are grants available for that. We can use that to do a lot of great things in our community. Bring Trenton back again. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kpayea, same question. What specific qualities do you bring to this job, and why should voters pick you over your opponent?
Thank you. Like I said previously, I founded the youth movement against the proliferation of small arms. I started serving my community while I was in Liberia. If I can fund such an organization that work with NGOs in Liberia, and to tell you how structured I had that organization, the first donation I ever got came from the late Archbishop Michael Francis. The records are there, the proven records are there. I made reference to Reverend Father Anthony Boa. He stayed a priest. The records are there. So in my community, in the very Trenton professional old timer that I am a member, I've been one of the highest contributors to that organization. Everything my opponent is saying he did, we did it together. It's not one person. And secondly, this community have been there for all of us. I've been member, I've been due payer. I'm not just coming to run for president today. The records are there that I've been due payers. I pay dues to this community. I've been giving to this community. Secondly, with everything that goes around our community today, like my opponent said, he's the director of public works. He's not the director of public work. Maybe he misspoke. He's an assistant director. There's a difference between director of public work and assistant director. Maybe he just misspoke. I'm not going to blame him for that because we all having a conversation. But I can assure you, I'm the best candidate because I've assembled a team of leaders that can serve this community. Team that the community believe in, and the community believe in me. And I can assure you that everything that I'm going to do, I'm going to bring transparency to the table. I'm going to bring accountability, and I'm going to bring good governance. I've been a member of Trenton Professional Old Timer all along. I was once a board member, and I served with Hector. But I honorably resigned from the board of directors. I'm only a member of Trenton Professional Old Timer. So there's nothing in ULAA structure called youth representative anyway. A lot of disinformation that is going on, and I strongly believe we need to focus on this stuff and start throwing words out there. Our listener want us to believe, we want our listener to feel and believe that what we're saying is the truth. We should speak the truth because I'm doing this, I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm doing it because I love my community.
Thank you. Thank you. Hector, I have a different question for you, but I give you 1 minute to respond about being director, assistant director instead of director.
Well, I'm the assistant director of public works. If Anthony heard otherwise, I correct myself. But assistant director or director, you have been called director in the city. If you don't know. And secondly, I want to also speak of him saying he's part of Trenton Old Town where he did everything well. I'm the chief executive of the organization, and my vision and strategies is what the organization followed. So he followed it. That's okay. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Thank you. Anthony, my question to you here is, let's talk about your teams and both of you. So I'm starting with Anthony. I'm curious to know, what was the process? I know you have a team. What was the process in selecting the team to run with you? What was the process that you came up with? Maybe I'm trying to say whether you are primary or not, right? But what was the process, and what was the criteria you used in picking your team members? And tell me a little bit about your team members on top of that. Go ahead, Anthony.
Thank you. If you can see, I do have a flyer. On this flyer, you see Mr. Jerry Kewu. He's the financial secretary. You see Mrs. Patricia Jala. She's from Old Timer. That's my treasurer. You see Mr. Roland Robert. He served as Secretary General to the Forensic College Administration. You see Mrs. Stalu Miller. I guess she's a doyen. Mr. Jonathan Munga. He's another board member from Old Timer. Mr. Charles Robert. He's a community member. Mr. James Ali, the former president of the Liberian community. Mr. Edmund Johnson, another board member. Mr. Conrad Yinka, the long-serving member of the board of directors. Mr. Dow Freeman, a board member. You see on the far right left, you see my vice president, Mr. Kpayea-Massaquoi. He owns his own Massaquoi Insurance Company. And your Homo 7, Mr. Anthony Kpayea. If you look at this thing, I put together one of the best things in the community. This thing tell you about unification, about reconciling our people. If you look on this thing, all of my cabinet members are not from Old Timers. I went into the community, I talked to people, I consulted stakeholders. That's how I came up with this listing.
Right.
So
what was the process in picking them? Was there primary election? Was there, or you went? How did you put your?
There were no primary. There were no primary. But I spoke to eminent permanent person in the community. I spoke to ex-president. I spoke to opinion leader. I spoke to clergymen. So based on the conversation I'm having, I was able to put together one of the best things in this community. After 12 years, if you look on this team, you will see James Ali, you will see Talu Miller. They've been in court for over 12 years. I was able to bring them together for the sake of the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Mr. Weah. Let's talk about your team. What was the process in picking the team and what?
My opponent just talked about 12 years they've been away. They were in court for 12 years. These are the same people they want us to give back state power to. We're not going to do that. After careful assessment of the needs of our community and my team, we assess our religious background of our community and how diversified it was. We also assess gender equality in our community. We assess the balance between our young people and our old people, how big the gaps were. And we assess things that people were debating in the community, that they were ostracized and they were left behind. So our whole strategy was, how can we bring people together from different backgrounds? So my vice president is female, as you can see. We vetted 4 different females with a team, and my vice president came up at number 1. I took people with fresh ideas, with new minds, and worth of knowledge. My financial secretary, Mr. Mia Momo works at Civil 7, and he's a professor at university in America right now. I have Mr. Rupert Peter. Mr. Rupert Peter has a master's degree in IT, very young, energetic, and ready to move. I also have Mr. Flex. Flex is the unifier of the community, a man who has been here for a very long time. People respect him, and he's young, and he knows what the community needs. Mrs. Vera Manley, she was the head of police in Liberia for women and children, and she was on board to help us with our kids. And she's running actually as my secretary, but she was going to help us with community development when it comes to the kids. I have Mrs. Esther Lopez. She has a master's degree in nursing. She's doing very well in the community, and she's on our board to help us with a team of health practitioners. I also have Mr. Swansea Goba. Swansea Goba have a master's degree in nursing as well, but he's from the Muslim community. So we decided to bring somebody, after careful deliberation with the Muslim community and how they felt in the community when it comes to programs and stuff relating to their background. We don't go there, but they always come to us. We have a representative for them now within our community, Mr. Swansea Goba. We also have Reverend Cecile Govado from the Charlotte Baptist Church. Cecile Govado, if you know her, I think she probably ran for vice president in the Liberian elections before. She brings wealth of knowledge to the community, but she has been ostracized for a very long time. We're bringing her on board as board member. I also have Mr. Augustine Tower, as board member, Mr. Augustine Tower is at the Better Church. He serves food to the community every Wednesdays and Fridays. Not only the Liberian, all the Spanish people, all the Haitian people, all the Jamaican people, they're out there and he's serving them every day. I have Mr. Prince Way. He's the president vice president of training professional old timer who's I'm turning power to when I do win these elections. Mr. Wiwi Chico is our treasurer and president financial secretary of trainer old timer, have proven that he's ready to work. These are all people of fresh minds that the community need. I'm not bringing to you people who have been in court for 12 years, as my opponent said. No, I'm bringing new minds. Cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
So, Mr. Weah, did you do a primary to come up with them, or you picked them based on the criteria that you said?
I picked them based on the criteria I said. The names were vetted, and then the primary only done with the vice president, but everybody else was picked based on the criteria that wanted to unify and the community based on diversity and powerful assessments.
Thank you. My next question, it comes to you first, Mr. Weah, is as you have alluded to, the community has been through some problems, and you're talking about being called for a number of years. So at some point, the community was in fact dormant, that you'll have to be called in to help. In your view, what has been the problem that caused this? And when you are fortunate to get power, what will you do to avoid a recurrence of such problem?
Well, one thing I can say, in our community, the mentality is just bad, and it baffles me a lot of times the way we Liberians think a lot of times. The community problem initiated from division within the community due to election process. And one group did not win election, another group took that group to court, and up to now, for almost 15 years, the community had just been dormant. I just came with training professional old timer. We filled in the void and we did things that we were able to do. But I will tell you, to solve the problem that we have is to bring back unity. And one of the primary ways that people bring back unity is through economic empowerment. A lot of people make noise, they cause noise, all because they don't have it. I talk about youth council. My opponent, I think, said there's no youth department in ULAA. That's not what I said. I said formation of a youth council. If you do have a youth council in association with an elderly body to advise those people, our youth will grow up with different mentalities. The mentalities of those days are not the mentalities of now. So we bring.
Mr. Hector, sorry to interrupt. What did you identify as the root cause of the problem, and how will you fix that to avoid a recurrence when you become president?
Yes, so the root cause of the problem is division. Division is the root cause of our problem. And the way I'm going to fix it is to bring them together. And one of the ways that I'm going to bring them together is honor or economic palava heart. Be able to improve the economic standards of living of these people. When you give a man resource through a Liberian resource center, you can bring in immigration, you can bring in businesses, you can bring a lot of things. People are not going to think about fighting each other. Healthcare for one. If you bring in a good healthcare system and program with to our people, they'll be able to sit down and discuss healthcare instead of discussing who drank liquor to a friend's house, who talk about a friend behind her back. Those divisions in our community have long split us apart. We have opioid crisis. A lot of people go to jail around here just for drug addiction, but we have never identified those problems. We only focus on elections, and I want to be president. If I cannot be president, nobody else should be president. And those things are things that we need to erase from our head, sit down with each other, talk out our problems, and see how best we can solve our problem. Empower each other. Do not bring somebody down. When you empower somebody, he intends to love you. You take him to court, he hates you. So that Liberians, let's come together, let's empower each other and move this community forward. Stop backbiting and fighting, and stop the mad and petty talks and jealousy. That's not good for community togetherness.
Thank you. Mr. Kpayea, same question. The community has had a problem causing it to be dormant for a number of years. They were in court. What have you identified as the root cause of the issue, and how do you intend to fix it to avoid a recurrence when you become president?
Thank you. One of the root causes have been lack of good governance. In 2012, when there was an election, there were a lot of foul plays. The election commissioner and his co-chair, the day to the election, was seen coming from the opposition camp, and that brought a great divide in the community. So if there were good governance, if there were transparency, if there were accountability, this community was still being united today. So if we are elected president, if we are given the opportunity to serve, I will bring about transparency, accountability, and good governance. Where everywhere you find good governance, people tend to trust their leader. Everywhere there's accountability, people intend to trust their leader. Everywhere there's transparency, people know that the president have nothing to hide. That's how I'm going to unify this community, and that's why I assembled this team. If I could bring the Jean Ali, the former president, and Mr. Stalu Mira, the former president, on the same ticket. Look, gentlemen, let's put this together. Put aside your differences and let's unite our community. If I can do that, I can unify this community. And the only way to do it is to vote for this team. This got nothing to do with healthcare. The cause of the problem got nothing to do with healthcare or immigration. So the bottom line, I kind of baffle when my opponent talking about healthcare, economic empowerment. That never caused a divide in the community. It's lack of good governance. And that's why I'm bringing to this table, and I can show every Liberian in Central Jersey, in this metropolitan area, that are going to bring good governance, accountability, and transparency to this community. That every penny you spend in this community, people are going to see where their money has been spent and where their money go. With that, you bring people together. Thank you.
Thank you. And Anthony, there's a noise in your background there. I know you have other people in the room, but if they can avoid it, slow down the clapping and sometimes chatting, so that you too will not be distracted. I think we'll have a healthy debate. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. It's a presidential debate for the Liberian Community Association of Central New Jersey and Metropolitan Areas. I read your both platform of what you intend to do, and this one I'm losing track here. Yes, I start with Anthony. So Anthony, in your platform, you talk about reconciliation. I will just pick one: senior citizen sustainability and community reform program. Those are the things that you want to accomplish. Tell me the how and how you're going to raise the money to support this program. What really those things are, how you're going to raise the money to support them. You're muted.
Thank you. If you see my platform, I talk about reconciliation. If you reconcile people, once people come together, you look out for one another. If I can unify this community.
Excuse me, I just picked two that I want you to speak on.
Yeah,
the senior citizens sustainability and the community reform program.
Yeah, you can't achieve. Hold on, you can't achieve that without reconciliation.
Okay.
You cannot achieve that without reconciliation. So once you reconcile people, then you can look out for the seniors. Community reform. I want people, if you donate to the Liberian community, at the end of the year, you should be able to get back from the community. The community have a 501(c)(3). Most time people give to the community don't give back. We all go to work every week. At the end of the year, we file taxes. That is the community reform. So if people donate to the community, one way or the other, they stand a better position to claim that at the end of the year. That motivates people to give to the community. Concerning our seniors, we are putting together a database wherein we will know all the addresses of our seniors, where they live, their phone number. If there's a snowstorm, They just need to dial that number and there will be help on the way. These are things we're putting together. That's why I put together this good team that can look out for our seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Weah, same question on your platform. You have immigration, and you also have housing reform and human capital development. My question is on the how. How are you going to accomplish this?
All right. First of all, right now I have the contacts. I serve as the Deputy Public Works Director right now. Immigration reform. We have a lot of undocumented immigrants in our city that cannot even get health care. I spoke to Marco Cherry. He's the Executive Director for Heron J. Austin. He said, you don't have to have people that have undocumented for him to come. Hector, send them over here. We will be able to help them. These are the contacts that we want to bring to our people. We also have, you talk about housing reform. We have activities, and I also always say resources in the community that people should use. A lot of people are not using it. There are houses in redevelopment zones. A lot of Liberians don't know where they are and how can they obtain it. These are the things that we want to bring to them. I help almost 6 families obtain homes in our city right now. We also have food access to food. A lot of people don't know how and when. We will teach them the how and the when, how to put your hands on those resources. Okay. And we also want to provide recommendations for people and lawyers, those who do not have an immigration status or regularized. These are things that we're already doing. Already numerous letters for people when doing their marriages, and when they come here, they put our crisis. We are writing a lot of letters for them to obtain their immigration status. Also, we want to push and revise the laws in New Jersey through the House of Representatives to revise some of the laws that people who are undocumented and do not have driver licenses can be able to go to places and still be recognized as citizens and one of those of New Jersey. How many people here now working on the table without documents? These are things of our concerns. So we want to work with city government, with the state, to be able to institute laws that people who even work on a table will be able to file taxes and be able to get something back. So these are things that we are working on right now, and these are things that we're going to put forward to our community with the backing of everybody. It will be simple and easy. So with contacts that I have right now, I've met with a lot of city officials. I've met with the mayors. I've met with governors. I've met with a lot of people that can push this thing forward. So we're not trying to say we want to talk about something that will happen in maybe 6 years from now. We're talking something that we will hit the ground running to do. And I tell Liberian people that will be accomplished because the resumes are there. We have done it, and we'll continue to do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Here is the question, which is a follow-up to what both of you just said. And let me go back to Anthony for that. You've been in the community, now you have all these very good plans, but both of you have been in the community for a while, right? Were you waiting to become president before you do these things, or what is it that you've been doing that can tell us that when you become president, you will do this very thing? For example, bringing the community together, which both of you were stressing, and all the good plans you have. Why have you not been doing them? Or if you've been doing them, tell me what have you been doing in that direction? Anthony, 1 minute this time, just quickly.
Thank you. Like I said, I've been a member of the community since 2009. I've been a due payer to this community. And I've served my community. Under the leadership of Mr. Stalu Miller, I've been very supportive to this community. I'm not just coming in to run as president today. I've supported past and present leadership. But I believe that this is a time for me to become the next president and to serve the community.
Thank you.
And secondly, like you said, 1 minute.
Okay.
And more besides, being community leader, all of what my opponent are talking about is already happening. On the national level, they have changed the word from illegal immigrant to undocumented. So No hospital deny you because you don't have paper, because you are not legal in the country. So these are things that are already on the book. So if my opponent saying you're going to make these things happen, it's not possible. They're already happening. So no matter what happened in this debate, we need to be truthful to ourselves, because everything that my opponent is saying is been happening since President Biden took over.
Thank you.
I came to the country. I never had paper. I was still working under the table, and I went through the legal means to get my paper through the Liberian community. Thank you.
Thank you. Hector, same question. Why now?
Well, it's not about why now. These things that I said, I'm already doing. I am presently the president of Trainer Professional Old Timer, the most powerful organization in Trenton and its environs. All these people that I even talked about, including himself, are part of this organization, and I am their president. The vision and the motive I have brought to them, and they're following it. It's going well. Since Talamero is paying due to me, Conrad Yinka is associate member. Anthony is in Old Timer. Kpayea-Massaquoi is there. The leadership has proven itself. I came here, there was no even July 20th program. I brought these people together. Now we are doing those things. People could not even go to old people's houses, even the COVID-19. We have been there. I led this group, and we have been there for them, and people are doing those things right now. So I don't want to be president before I do it. I've been doing it for the past 6 years in Trenton. There's not a soul in Trenton that we have not touched directly or indirectly. There's not a kid that will say that we have not influenced their daily and livelihood, or we have not mentored them and say, hey, I'm doing these things because I see these people are doing it and I can be like them. So these are things that we are implementing right now. I'm not waiting to, I wasn't waiting to for this day to be president. No, I prepare myself all through these times. I'm so glad that my candidate is very disconnected on the health sector in this state, because the city just gave money to Henry J. Austin just the other day, and one of the deliberation with city council was, why are you saying that you cannot treat undocumented immigrants? And these are discussions that are around, but he seems to be disconnected. He does not know. So maybe listening to national radio and not listening to something around here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. My next question is to you, Hector. All the plans that you have, all these things cost money. And besides asking for membership dues or having convention to raise money, what are your plans to raise funds, fundraising efforts? What are you intending to do to raise money for the association, not just asking people to pay dues, because that doesn't really carry us any far?
Right. All right. So the first thing is our ability to write for grants. The grants exist, we have to go for it. So the first thing, with my contacts and my brilliant team that I have, we know where the resources are, and we're going to go for it. So the second thing, you don't have to come to people all the time for due payment. Please give me $5, $10. These things we have trashed behind us long time. That's why I want to come here. You have the CDBG grant, Community Development Grant, that exists right now. It exists for communities to be able to take those money and empower itself. So if you know about it and you know the right contacts to get to, it's easy to get those grants that exist for our community. Second thing, you have to have the vision, like our youth. We plan building a youth center. You have to have a vision and say, how can we do these things? You have businesses that exist in the community. You can go right down to City Hall and put in an Oprah request. Oprah request, you're gonna get all the businesses' addresses and information. That's why I want our community to be a strong voting bloc. When you come together cohesively and have a strong voting bloc, you can make demands or requests on things that you want from businesses that you support. For example, there's McDonald's, there's Walmart, there's Home Depot. We support those businesses by just for the very fact that they live and strive within our community. We go to the banks, we take money from there. So when you ask these businesses for help back, these businesses will be able to give back to you. Same thing applies to government. Government should be able to seek to seek what you want and to make your community happy because you put them there. But since I've been here, I've never seen Liberian community leadership goes to government and say, these things are not happening in our community. We want these things to work up. You don't need money for that. There's a lot of programs, even kids. They have kids movie night, for example, as simple as it is. You don't need to raise $500 to have movie night for the kids. You have businesses that are ready to give food to the homeless. You don't need to raise money, $500 to give food to the homeless. No, you can put in requests to say, I want to do this thing, and businesses will be able to give it to you to file taxes back on it. For example, we have done cleanup campaigns every year in the city. And every year, we don't take our own money to do the cleanup campaigns. And we have won the city trophy for it for the past maybe 5 to 6 years. I got the golden brooms. I got the golden trophies. I got everything in my house. We never raised money to do it. No, you have businesses that took 100, 200,000 and sponsored the entire program. So we just there as a tool to use it. So Liberian people, nobody should tell you that money is the key to everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Kpayea. Mr. Kpayea, how do you intend to raise money to support your programs that you mentioned?
Thank you. Thank you. If the community is united, I know Liberian people, if they believe in you, they can go the extra mile for you. If there's accountability, if the Liberian people see accountability and they see transparency, Liberian people are givers. They love one another. They look out for one another. So even before going to businesses, if my administration can bring about transparency, where people see where their money goes, where people see how their money is being spent, people will go extra mile to come and make personal donation to the community. Then with that, we can go to businesses. Like my vice president, he owned an insurance company. And every time Trinidad Professional Old Timer hosts an event, he sponsored the event. He put a poster out there. It's not free. Sponsorship is never free. So if we can reach out to all of these businesses, we can be, but it must begin with us. Our people got to trust in the process. If our people believe and trust in the process and believe that their leader is trustworthy, is accountable, is transparent, people are going to give, and people will give their time and energy. It's not all about the money, but just the thought of the matter, people will leave their business schedule to come and see and make sure that senior citizens and other people that need help gets help. That's what Liberians are, that's what Liberians believe in. Through all the word, we are very nice people. So if I can unite the community and prove to the community that this team is very transparent with everything, we will remove mounting and people will come around and businesses will come around, businesses will sponsor programs. And under our leadership, we will engage the city and the state. You don't have to be assistant director in order to engage the state or the city. Once you are a community leader, all our state men, all the governor, everybody need vote. They need a Liberian population. So they will come to us. So once they come to us, we tell them what we want. That's politics. All of the governors, they come, during election, they come.
Thank you.
One more thing. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, it boils down to three things. In order to achieve these things, there must be transparency, accountability, and good governance. If one of these things are lacking, you will never bring anything to your community. And that's why my team, Team Kpayea, is bringing to the table. Thank you.
And let me follow up on that. You have mentioned transparency, and that was part of the question I was going to ask. So how are you going to accomplish transparency? How are you going to do that and show the people that you are transparent and accountable? What are you going to do?
All the monetary aspect for the community will be channeled through the financial secretary and to the treasurer. And at the end of every month, each registered member will receive a statement in the mail of how much was deposited into the community account and how the money was dispensed. That's transparency and accountability. These are things that are lacking. People put money somewhere, they don't know how the money is being spent. These are some of the problems we face in the community today.
Thank you.
But if there's good governance and accountability and transparency, everybody going to come together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Weah, same question, because the issue of transparency and accountability has been a problem, especially with finances. Indeed, when there's a hole in your pocket, you keep putting money there, nothing is going to stick. How are you going to ensure transparency and accountability? On mute, please.
Well, first of all, my colleague here, I think he's thinking petty. I'm not addressing when I speak about money issues. I talk about big programs. We talk about opioid crisis and how we can solve problems in our community. We talk about formation of youth programs. Those are not money that people can give $5 to do. No, we are moving to big donors to be able to give us something for our community. First of all, if you're using CDBG grants, those grants are federal or stipulated grants. Those grants, you have to make financial reports on those grants, how you use it, and that's the only way you're going to get money back. So if I come down to the small level where people pay $5 dues, like you're saying, those things are things that are very simple. I have a financial secretary who's a university professor. He's somebody who is articulated to make a spreadsheet every meeting and share with everybody and let them know that this person paid this and this is what we have. Liberian people, the good are saying I pay money, but they don't want people to know how much they pay. So it's very good to put everything on spreadsheet, write it down, and say this person paid this person paid this, this person paid this. But I will say something. We need to drive away from the $5 dues and start thinking big. We got to start thinking big. Let's start thinking about how can we move these kids forward. How can we get money for university endowment plans for our children to be able to go to university on scholarship and make reports to those universities, not thinking about how much $5 due will be and how we're going to do it. Yeah, we have opioid crisis. How can somebody go to a developmental home by collecting $5? We have to push for these grants. We have to do these things for our community. I know I said in my opening, said, why are you looking at that type of thing? People can give money. I've been with people getting money for a very long time. This is another ball game. This is not turning old timers. We are stepping it up, and we're stepping it up high. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question goes to Anthony. Anthony, in your first, I would say, I don't want to even say 100 days, but 6 months, in the first 6 months, what do you hope to accomplish and what will be your success criteria? In other words, how will you know after 6 months that you actually accomplished what you set forth to accomplish?
In my first 100 days.
I want six months. 100 days.
Yeah, but I'm going to begin with 100 days.
Okay, sir.
Come on. 6 months. Come on.
Oh, stop the distraction in the background. You're gonna distract the man. Go ahead. Start with 100 days and then go into 6 months, which is 200 days.
Within the next 100 days, the Liberian people will see what we are doing with their finances. They will get bank statement in the mail with all of the contacts. They will see what we're doing for the first 100 days. Within the next 6 months, the Liberian community will see how steady our leadership is and how we can put together and unify the community. No matter what happens within the next 6 months, everything that we told our people we're going to do in terms of reconciliation, unification, they're going to see how our community will come together and move forward. Within the next 6 months, there are a lot of other things that are going to come into place. You getting me?
Okay, now I'm getting you. You were muted. Go ahead. You muted again. I know those guys then distracting you in the background. You stop distracting the man.
So within 6 months, our community will find ourselves will be healed again. Our community will be unified again. Because with unity, everyone will come together in the interest of our country and our community. Thank you.
So how would you know that these things are accomplished within 6 months? How would I know? How would the community know?
The community is going to know based on the interaction.
Okay.
If you look at this election, this very tense election, People are saying a lot of stuff, and the rhetoric is so high in this election. If I can just recall, my opponent just referred to me as petty. So that tells you how the rhetoric is in this election. Within a period of 6 months, I will try to unify Team Hector, because I will be the next president. I will bring Hector on board to work with the community so that we all together can push our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Hector, same question. In your first 6 months, what do you hope to accomplish and what will be the success criteria?
Well, I'll just correct that. I did not call my opponent petty. I said collecting $500 to fund big projects that are just petty ideas that Liberian people always think about. We should think about doing great things. But in my first 6 months, I have a lot of things on my plate to do, and I'll keep stressing on it. Number one, in this first 6 months is my youth council. That youth council formation will be up and running in my first 6 months. In my first 6 months, I will boast of Liberians sitting in big and high jobs and high places in my first 6 months, in my human developmental plans. In my first 6 months, I will have Liberian people who facing social security problems, Liberian people who facing problems of their homes being boarded up and taken away from them. Those are the lists that I want in my first 6 months to solve those problems. In my first 6 months, I don't want to see a kid that say, hey, I cannot enter university right now because I don't have the money. In my first 6 months, I want to boast of at least one kid that went to school or university or that is about to do it based on scholarships that have been discussed and that have been planned. In my first 6 months, there will be a formation of Liberian Merchant Association. I want Liberians that own businesses in the city and around Trenton and its environs to say, we now have a merchant association. We can now go to banks. We can bring in loans. We can be able to have an association and coordinate among ourselves to be able to move our business forward within the central New Jersey area and its metropolitan areas. And also in the first 6 months, why are we just sitting down and forgetting about our senior citizens? In my first 6 months, there will be plans to be able to carry senior citizens to the doctor's appointment, back from the doctor's appointment, and to do grocery shopping with a universal database being established within my first 6 months. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I want the two teams to engage. Okay, so you're going to ask questions. You're going to rebut anything your opponent said that you didn't like or you didn't agree with. It will be the time to exchange. We'll have like 10 minutes to go back and forth. But we're going to take a short break and be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Thank you, and welcome back to Focus on Liberia. This is a debate between Mr. Hector Weah and Mr. Anthony Kpayea, and they are both from the Liberian community of Central New Jersey and metropolitan areas. And we are glad to have our presidential candidates here. We also want to thank you for watching the show. At this time, we're going to have the both teams going at each other. But before that, I have just one more question. Let me start with you, Mr. Weah. The community is part of a bigger body called ULAA, right? And ULAA has recently been promised $100,000 by the government of Liberia through the Minister of Presidential Affairs, Mr. Nathaniel McGill. From what I'm understanding is the president will come to these communities to discuss about this money. If you were in that meeting and the president of ULAA asked you whether to receive the $100,000 or to reject it, what would be your response and why? Mr. Hector, on me, please.
First of all, I did listen to my opponent the other day on Moneyball Show, but I'm not going to go deep into that. The same crisis face Liberians back home. Maybe the magnitude is different, but Liberians do face crisis in America as well. I'm not a fan of Liberian government giving ULAA money, because ULAA is supposed to be an advocate for the people in the diaspora to the Liberian government. But what I'm a fan of, and I stand to be corrected, if the Liberian government took a certain amount to give to ULAA, I think the Liberian government should make that money constitutional. It should not be a willing gift from the president, for in this case, George Weah. It should be something that goes through the Senate, addressed through the Senate, and agreed upon that form a part of our constitution or our governing policy, that any other president that comes to power, we know that that money is available for Liberians in the diaspora. Liberians in the diaspora do have a lot of issues. I just stressed on opioid crisis, opium crisis, all those things. The same issues that I'm stressing on today, ULAA face those same issues. And the same way we talk about paying dues, ULAA expect people to pay dues, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay dues, and in sometimes ULAA might not have that money to do all the things that ULAA want to do. But on the other hand, if ULAA is just receiving a gift from the president of Liberia, that means ULAA decision can be swayed in any way, and the advocacy will be marginalized, and those are things that are stand against wholly and solely. So the Liberian government giving ULAA money right now, I'm not in favor of it, but I'm in favor of Liberian government giving money to ULAA if it is constitutionalized.
So with the current money that was donated or promised or pledged, do you want ULAA to reject it or take it, and why?
Right now, I will ask ULAA president to ask the Liberian government in good faith, if they want to give this money, to ask them to constitutionalize the giving of money annually to the Liberian community in America, and that will be this amount every year. If they do not come up and say we will constitutionalize that or did it, I will ask them to give the money back, because that would diminish the character and diminish the efforts and the time to actually advocate for the people who are over here.
Thank you. Mr. Kpayea, same question. The government of Liberia through Mr. Nathaniel Fala-McGill promised ULAA 100,000. If the president of ULAA comes to your community and you are president and asks you whether to reject the money or take it, what would be your response and why?
Thank you. My opponent said I was on a talk show and I discussed this money issue. On day one, that money is going back to the government. Any money from the government or Liberia to ULAA, this chapter is not going to accept that money, and we're going to advocate against that money. Our people back home need all the help they can get, need all the support they can get. In America, if you don't have health insurance, you can still see your doctor. In Liberia, if you don't have money, you don't see your doctor. If you're taking 100 grand to send to this country, and my opponent say they should go and ask questions, it's money. When money enter any organization, if you're not careful, it's going to spread even before people get to know. So on day one, if Nathaniel Fala-McGill or President George Manuel Weah or ULAA accept that money, I, Anthony F. Kpayea III, will take ULAA to court in the interest of the Liberian people. That money will go back to Liberia. Our people need all the help. They can invest that money into the healthcare system. And I'm not going to ask any question if they should go through Congress. There will be no law. I'm going to campaign against that. I'm going to mobilize the Liberian people, home and abroad, to ask their lawmaker to stop ULAA from accepting that money. Under no condition will ULAA accept that money. And if I'm elected president and ULAA accept that money, ULAA will see me in court here in America.
Thank you. Thank you. At this time, gentlemen, I will give you the opportunity to go back and forth a little bit. And it's really not a bad knuckles fight. It's just that anything that your opponent said that you don't agree with, please, it's time for you to ask question, rebut, and we have at least 10 minutes for that as we draw to a close. Let me start with you, Hector. Any rebuttal, any question, any comment directly for Anthony?
Yeah, Anthony, made a statement about unification and said he was the best person to unify this community, and he brought together the people who have been in court for 20 years. He brought them back to actually rule us again. So that is form of unification. I would tell you that all these people who he brought behind him are people who are part of training professional old timers right now. So the leadership ability that we have shown this community over the past years has shown how much that we have the ability to bring people together and unify people. If these people did not trust our ability to lead them, they were never going to be part of training old timers. I got $6 on dues here for the entire year, so she paid dues to old timers. Yeah, I got Zoga Wisdom and been paying dues to old timers as well. Yeah, all of them, the Stanford, Anthony, all of them. So they trusted the ability of this team to unify people. They only came together because of the power struggle that humans agreed about. But I will tell you, the records are there to lead our community. My team are very, 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 very eloquent and smart and brilliant. These are people who are ready to bring people together. We've done it when they said the community could not come together. Right now, anybody you ask in China, they'll tell you these people, these folks have done it and they can still do it again. The blueprints are there. When the blueprints are somewhere, why must you change it? No, you can tweak it and you can move forward. But don't think that moving the Liberian community up there is being part of some football team. No, that's not what we're talking right now. We're talking big things and we're going to move forward. I just want to make that point clear to everybody.
And let me just push a little bit on that. So with the old leadership, like Tyler Miller, or being part of, what are you suggesting that they shouldn't be part? Like you should throw the baby away with the bathwater? Is that what you're implying?
What I'm implying is, if you do have a conflict in the community and people have been part and parcel of that conflict for a very long time, those people cannot be given state power again. You have to try new leadership and see if you're going to have new things. If you keep doing the same things over and over and expect different results, no, that's not going to happen. But I would say, with our leadership ability, they were not going to join our organization. They were never going to be with us. They were never going to be supporting all the programs and plans that I've been doing over the years. They have never ever stood up against anything that we have been doing. No, they have always been okay with it until today when they pick Anthony to come and run to be president in our community. So because they came, if they distrusted that we cannot run this community, why did they come to us and say, y'all please run this community, both parties? And we said, no, we're going to remain neutral and run this community. But because of the refusal, now Anthony is sitting down here now to have this debate. So we're going to go through it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anthony, so there's a charge that I want you to respond to. So you were picked by the people that were in court, the old leaders, to run against Hector. I want you to respond to that and any other thing or question you have for Hector.
Yeah, before I respond to that, I want to ask Hector because I thought Hector was going to ask me a question, but he made a long speech anyway. How are you going to help the Liberian people with social security?
Question for you, Hector.
Well, Social Security, a lot of people have the Social Security benefit. I don't have Social Security to give to them. They have Social Security benefits. And the benefits for those people to access those benefits have been a hustle and tussle for them over years. There are resources available to help these people to get what belongs to them. And we are here to help them to get what belongs to them. I've gone to many homes and spoken to a lot of people that are denied of the Social Security benefit, all because people cannot help them. So we're going to have a team put in place to help those people. It's online. Everything that you want to know is there. We can help. Some of them are not even computer literate. They can't even write. They can't even type. So we do have the ability to help those people. So we're going to point them in the right direction. We're going to use our resources. We're going to use our contacts. We're going to use our power. We're going to use everything possible to help our elderly in this community and make them to relax once again and have the pleasant life that they had once before.
Thank you. Anthony.
Okay. The issue of Social Security, there's a system put in place of Social Security. No one individual will tell you I'm going to face Social Security. Social Security is federal. So once it comes to Social Security, no one person, and I'm going to be clear, the idea of people just throwing words up there for campaign purposes, it don't work like that. Social Security, everybody that work in this country, you pay towards your Social Security. And this country may not be perfect, but it's one of the best countries in the world with one of the best systems. Whether you can read or write, they give you your benefit. You don't need somebody to come tell you, I'm going to make sure they give you your benefit for you because the person want to be elected. It don't work like that. And secondly, he said, I was handpicked. How can I be handpicked when I've been a member of the community? I've been due payer. My opponent has never been a due payer. He never paid due in this community. The only reason my opponent is here today because the Constitution has been suspended. That's why he able him to run as president. So why would you just sit back, stay away from the community, stay away from IE and Barrow, stay away from everything, suspend the Constitution? You jump into it like, okay, that's divide and conquer. I was never handpicked. I've been due payer. My opponent never one day paid due. Once. Now, suspend Constitution. Oh no, since they suspend the Constitution, under normal circumstances, Hector would never qualify to be president. But because we suspended the Constitution, he's taking advantage of it and throwing words all over. Yes. So I'm not a puppet. I'm a good gentleman. I'm a family man. And I love human beings. I love old people. No matter this community, if it were not because of the old people, Hector and myself will not be sitting here debating today. Who kept the community alive for the past 20 years or the past 30 years? He said you want to bring them back to power. This thing is not about power. It's about serving the people. It's not about strength. It's about humility. It's about being humble. It's about serving your community. So it's not about this person been here 20 years, 30 years. I've been here 12 years. I pay my due to the community. Even the old timer in question, I pay my due to old timer. I'm a member of old timer. And everything that was doing old timer, we did it together. No one person take credit for anything that happened in old timer. We all contributed to old timer. People that are not part of old timer contribute. So for my opponent to say, oh no, I was handpicked, I wasn't handpicked. On the other hand, his vice president, he refused to resign or even step aside. His vice president is running as board member. You want to unify the community, but your vice president, they made you supposed to leave in charge, is running as board member. According to you, when you become president, you will make him president. Is that democracy? Is that how you bring people together? Is that how you unify community?
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Let's give Hector a chance to respond. Hector.
My opponent is wrong again on so many different times. I seem to be disconnected again with the community. ULAA did not suspend the Constitution. Let me just tell you that the Constitution was never suspended. Whoever telling you that in the background is lying to you. No, let me let you know. I even asked in the ULAA meeting, suspend a clause in the Constitution to enable us to run, because none of us have been even part of the Liberian community because it's been dormant for 20 years. 20 years. I've not even been here for 20 years. It's been dormant for 20 years. You have not even been here for 20 years. You know, you said just 12 years ago you came here. So I don't know what you're saying about Hector would never have qualified. That's the same story that Kerem is a crook say Hector said him on charge of the Constitution. Now you're not saying that the Constitution is suspended. And the Constitution is not suspended. Learn that. ULAA president is right here. It's not suspended. She said the Constitution is going to go by the guidelines provided by ULAA. They are not suspending the Constitution of ULAA. So if that's your words, you carry back out to the community. The next thing you talk about me resigning. Joe Biden did not resign when he was a senator and wanted to be vice president. Kamala Harris did not resign. Obama did not resign either. The Constitution of Old Timer do not say the president have to resign to run for presidency in another organization. Quote unquote, will you resign as the church on waiting? You say you chair or main department or president, right? Or trustee or something. So are you going to resign as trustee because you want to be on Liberian Committee president? No. Your question to me supposed to be, if you win as president of this organization, will you be able to be president of two big organizations? My answer to you is no. We have a succession plan in our organization. It has nothing to do with Liberian Community and ULAA. The Old Timers is a separate organization. Have the right to run in ULAA or Liberian Community Association elections. There's nothing in the clause of this constitution. I don't think you even read it because it's right here. ULAA elections, the bylaw. It did not say that you must resign from your previous organization before you run in this something. No. So you gotta learn that. So if you're gonna resign, or even Mr. Elmer Johnson, are you running right now? He just want IE presidency. Why is he running with your team? Why is Conrad Yinka running with your team as well when you vice president on the other side? Nothing tell you say you have to resign to run. No, you should ask an ethical question to say, hey, Mr. President, when you think that you have too much big job to do, my answer to you is, my brother, I'll resign training professional Old Timer. We have had a meeting and we concluded we have our succession plan and everything is done. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I come in, please? Can I come in, please?
All right. 30 seconds.
Okay. My opponent mentioned Joe Biden, Obama, Kamala Harris, and all these people. This is the Liberian community. Hector, the Old Timer is a social club. The Liberian community is bigger than the social club. The Liberian community got more than 50 different organizations. If you think you want to be transparent, if you think you are a good leader, you want to be transparent, there's something called precedent. Not everything is in the Constitution. There's something called precedent. That's what good leaders do. Look, what are my conflicts? I'm already president for this organization. And I want to be president of the community. In the interest of my own organization, can I step aside and let the organization run? And while I pursue the presidency.
Thank you.
What good leader would do, and that what people refer to as precedent. No matter what happened, there should be precedent. And I don't want my opponent ain't going to tell me which question to ask him. The question here is, you don't have to wait to be president. Then you say, oh, I already got succession in place. You're not talking about having election. You've been president for over 6 years, and you're still having succession in place. So what kind of leader you going to be? At least you went to Europe. You went to Ukraine. You want to go fight for the people freedom. You want to go fight for freedom. But in your own organization, you said it on succession. Is that democracy?
Thank you, Anthony.
However, thank you for your service. But that man said that I can go and defend other people's democracy. But in my own organization, 6 years, no election. It's so sad. It hurt my heart.
Thank you.
It hurt my heart. And
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hector, 30 seconds, please respond to that so that we can close very shortly. Go ahead, respond, please.
Well, the succession plan of Old Timers is not even about Liberian communities, it's about our organization. But if you wanted to be discussed, it was the very board members where you decided to boycott all the board meetings that we ever had, and you did not attend it. And the board members and the executive have made a succession plan for Hector Weah when he exits the doors of the Old Timers. And I'll let you know again, and learn it very, 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 very well. Your constitution, even in Old Timer, does not say that the president have to resign. You have to read your constitution. It's not a must that the president resign. The men do not want to be president again. The man can get out. But the plan here, it has been leaked. The plan here is to get rid of the Old Timer so that people can thrive. So they see the Old Timer as an obstacle to them over the years that they have been inflating. So they brought you in now to say, let's break the Old Timer apart. And your biggest goal running for this election is Hector resign, Hector resign, Hector resign. Talk about what you're going to do for the people. Talk about your strategies. Talk about other things. But you pushing her to resign, like to say it is a guideline in ULAA or elections guideline, or it's in ULAA constitution or old timer constitution. You're making note of why I use Joe Biden, Obama, Kamala Harris. These are examples of the United States Constitution. Even if old timer said the person cannot be a departmental head before running as president in old timer, yes, then it's valid. But you talking about two separate, different organizations, and you tell me, say, before I be med department chairman in my church, I'm gonna resign old timer president. No, that is absurd. We need to sit down and think about it and look for a better leader that can rule our people that know what they're saying.
Thank you.
Can I come in?
Thank you. Hold on, Anthony. I know come May 14, one of you will be elected president of the association. I want you to now look in the camera and speak to the voter that will be casting his or her ballot as to what they should expect and why they should give you their vote. This time, and I will let each of you take 2 minutes each to speak, look in the camera, and speak directly to the voter. Let me start with Mr. Kpayea.
Thank you. To my fellow Liberian, we are at the crossroad. This election is very important. This is the election of our lifetime between Team Hector and Team Anthony. And I want you to take a deep breath and look at the candidate. My opponent is saying he will remain in power. He will not resign. He will not even step aside. He's telling us that if he wins, he will bring somebody from old timer. He said, you the next president, you the next vice president. That's not democracy. We live in the biggest democracy in the world. But if my opponent would say that is okay, and people that follow my opponent say, oh, that's normal. Somebody can be in power for 6 years and still say when I'm leaving, I'll put somebody there for another 6 years. If the voter would say that's normal, our conscience is going to judge us. But if I'm elected president, I can assure you, I'm going to unify this community. Old timer will still be old timer. And every organization in this community, every social group in the community will have equal right and equal access to that soccer field. Will have equal opportunity under my leadership. I'm transparent and I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to bring on the table good governance, accountability, and good leadership. That's why I don't have no conflict. My opponent is still president. He said on the talk show, people are afraid of because you get too much power. Election not about power. It's about serving. So my fellow Liberian, as we conclude the first debate today, I want to assure you all that I'm the best candidate to unify this community, to bring about transparency, accountability, and good governance. And no matter whose side you're on, come May 14, I will be your next president. I'm waiting to embrace everybody because we all are Liberian. There's nothing like Mandingo. There's nothing like Gio. There's nothing like Mano. There have been no divides like that in our community.
Thank you.
But I can assure you, I'm going to bring this community together and I'm going to heal this community. And come May 11, May 14, I will be the next president of the Liberian community. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Hector, you're trying to look in the camera and talk to the voter.
Okay. I'm not going to report into my opponents here right now because it's unfortunate that they do not understand organizational structure. So I can't keep talking about that over and over. But one thing I would say is that both parties have approached me to run for the president. I would want to Anthony, thank you for agreeing to them to run for them. I stood up my ground. I stood on the principles that I live on and said we will remain neutral until the end. And we're not going to fractionalize this community what you're doing right now. We're going to stick to it. And I'll tell people, our listeners around, that my campaign is not ran on lies. It's ran on the truth, the strategies, and things that we can do for the Liberian people. Mr. Edmund Johnson is one of my mentors and my old man. They say that the man approached me to run for his vice president and I refused. So they say, oh, they're picking frisky and rude. If Mr. Johnson said that he ever approached Hector to run as his VP, I would drop off this race. To just tell you the lies that you're carrying around. They carry lies that, oh, the man said trash the Constitution. You right here now asking that the Constitution was suspended. That's not true. So lies cannot build up an organization. You have to be truthful and you have to be fair to people what you want to do. Do not have something on your shoulder or your sleeve to move this community. I'm asking my Liberian people today to offer the votes on my behalf for a couple of things. Competences. We got youth competences. These people have traits. They have power embedded within themselves that they cannot materialize or bring out because we hold these people down for so long. When are we going to say, youth, you have the ability to do these things? We are here to offer those services. We are here. We know the know-how. Why can't you allow us to bring our services to you? Do not take 10 steps backward before you take 2 steps forward. We are already forward. We built a resume over time, over the years. You made us to build this resume. You push us up there. So why now you say, hey, let that grass before we even go up? No. Liberian people, look at the Spanish community, they're pushing the Spanish people to run for mayor, to run for council. They're bringing the mayors in the community. They're bringing the police director on community reforms. But all we sit there and think about how can we get $500 dues, how can we follow people? No, let's think about bigger things for our community. Let's think about how we can have a voting block and say, this is what we want. This is time for me to walk on the streets of Trenton and see Liberian stores, Liberian businesses, Liberian entrepreneurs. These are things that I think about. So, old people, all my people there, I tell you, old man, I love you. I've been with you all through the while. I've been going to your houses, giving you the water, the food, the masks, everything. October 1st every year is now proclaimed as Old Folks Day in the Liberian community.
Thank you, Hector.
October 1st every year. Thank you so much, senior citizen. I love you, my youth. I love you. Come out May 14th. Give me your votes and move this community forward. We have brilliant people that coming on board. I'm saying everything right now. You're here in the second debate.
Thank you, gentlemen. I want to thank you so much, and I want to say congratulations on the conclusion of this debate. Thank you to the VP, Madam Minerva Grant, and we will welcome her back as we conclude the debate. And so, Madam VP, the debate is over for tonight. Again, congratulations, guys, for a spirited debate. If here at Focus on Liberia, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberian. We are proud to host this debate, first in its kind. You know, we are getting somewhere that our communities are coming forward to debate the issues. I'm very, very delighted. And thank you for the confidence, Madam Vice President, that Focus on Liberia should play this role. Again, let's conclude.
I want to say thank you before the Vice President talk. I just want to say thank you. Do I have the time to say thank you for at least 30 seconds?
Yes, go ahead.
I want to say thank you for bringing us on here. I want to say thank you to the listeners and everybody in Radio Land. And I also want to say thank you to my dear brother and friend Anthony for being here today. We did extremely well. The Liberian people understand what decisions to make. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you to myself, my campaign team, everybody out there in Radio Land. Kudos.
Thank you. Anthony, I will be fair here. You have your 30 seconds as well.
All right. I want to say thank you to the organizer of this debate. I want to say thank you to the listeners. I want to say thank you to the Liberian people. This election is very important. This election is about transparency, accountability, and good governance. As you go home today, know that this election is about us. It's about, no matter what we do, we can manage 1 million if you can manage $5. I want to manage your 5 cents, then we can get it 1 million. I want to say thank you. My life is an open book. I'm very transparent. I want to say thank you, and God bless the Liberian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Vice President, your closing remarks. And please let the folks know how they can vote, where to vote, and give the announcement. Ms. Grant. All right, we don't have Ms. Grant. For some reason, she's on mute right now. But again, gentlemen, thank you so much. It's very spirited. I can see your supporters. The text, the comments are just overwhelming. So thank you also for coming. God's willing, if all things being equal, we hope to see the end of this. And if time can permit, I will make sure that someone from Focus on Labrador attend the live debate. Again, until then, first, let me make our announcement here. We're going to have tomorrow, the Hour of Politics with Anthony Sia. He will be here to interview Attorney Mariah Yakula representing the ANC. And the topic is Alexander Cummings, the political leader. That's on the Hour of Politics tomorrow, 1 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Again, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Ms. Grant, you're still not here, but we want to close the broadcast. Thank you again for coming. Until then, we never close any of our broadcasts without playing the song that says, "We are all Liberians." What are you going to vote for, Team Hector or Team?
I want training and I can't get it.
We are, Madam VP, are you available now? So we close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberian.